I'm Ryan Seacrest, and here is Lady Gaga.
Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
So this is an exciting celebration today, isn't it?
I'm so excited. I can't believe it's finally here. It's kind of shocking.
Now, before we get into exactly what the artRAVE is, let's just quickly talk about the last 365 days of your life. You've had highs and lows, ups and downs. You had an injury to the hip. You had to stop everything, touring, recording. At some point, did you say to yourself, wow, this is harder than I thought it was going to be?
Well, you know, it doesn't get easier. Let's put it that way. But the thing is that breaking out into music was the hardest thing that I've ever done. Getting noticed, having your voice be heard. So I kind of like to roll with the punches and just be really grateful for where I am. And I'm just so happy to be here. And that's actually really what Art Pop is all about, is me being a vehicle for young voices, me being a vehicle for a younger generation, my fans. And that's why we wanted to create this experience today, this merging of art, fashion, and technology and music. It's our way of bringing all these worlds together and saying, I want to expose these young people to all of this stuff.
And Art Pop, the name of the album and the song we're about to hear. Why is it called Art Pop?
With Art Pop, what I wanted to do was really take a look at the culture of the fans, look at around the world at our social media and pop culture where we are, and make a statement about where we can go. And where I believe we can go is that we can put talent and love and joy and art in the front, and that pop and fame and the media and this sort of wildly spun volcanic corporate whirlwind that we're all in the midst of, that this can kind of take a back seat, and that we can allow the artist to rise to the top. Not necessarily in terms of fame, like taking the picture of the artist, but letting the artist speak as an inventor, as someone that says, I sat in front of a canvas and it was blank, and I had a paintbrush and an idea, and then I started.
And here's Gaga, Art Pop. I'm Ryan Seacrest with spectacular views of Manhattan behind me, mind-blowing artwork around me, and pop music's most avant-garde superstar next to me, Lady Gaga. She's dealing with her own insanity through music here.
This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like when I'm having a mental breakdown and I'm vomiting. This is my vomit everywhere.
Have you ever had a mental breakdown and vomited before a show?
Yes. Well, before a show, I'm quite tough as steel before a show. I go into like a complete
lockdown zone,
lockdown
focus.
of concentration, yeah. But I get nervous, for sure, for sure.
One of the songs on the album is called Man I Cure, Man a Cure.
Yes.
How would you say it?
Manicure.
Manicure, manicure. And it's really a play on words. It's not about nails. It's about being cured by a man or men in some way.
Yes, and also the feeling that you get from, you know, spending that little extra time in the salon to go out to go catch a man or to catch a girl. You know, this is a song about the mating call.
You can ask Gaga questions if you like on our social, hashtag #IHeartGaga. We'll get your questions on in just a little bit. Man a Cure. Welcome back to the iHeartRadio album release party with Lady Gaga. Gaga's fourth album, Art Pop, is out now, and she's sharing personal stories behind the making of the album exclusively with us. And those close to you say that your biggest concern, or one of your biggest concerns and priorities, is always the fans. Tell me about how they impact what it is that you do.
Well, they impact all of it. I mean, it's impossible to create without them. I mean, it would be like creating in a vacuum, going into the studio and imagining them not there. I mean, when I was first working on music before the fans, I had to create all of that energy on my own. And now, you know, I go on stage and they feed me with such incredible joy and so much love. And so when I'm working, I always am seeing them scream. I can see them jumping up and down. It's almost like when I'm composing that I can actually see them in front of me, as if I was on a stage performing.
And are you thinking of their reactions to the different moves in music and fashion?
Yes, totally.
While you're putting it together?
Yes, I'm thinking about their reactions, but also I'm thinking about the reaction they have not had yet, and how I can provoke that reaction. How can I show them something and really blow their minds? Like Sex Dreams, for example. This is about the dream. This is about after manicure, after the sex, after you find the person, that you're laying in bed with them, and then all of a sudden your mind begins to wander. And my sex dreams are crazy. I mean, mine are really bizarre.
It's definitely provocative. Is this a song that you've played for your parents?
Yeah, they love it. I mean, my parents are really great. They were on the set with me and R. Kelly last week, like
They're
having
trained.
a blast.
They get it.
Yeah, they don't. They really love what we do, and they love watching the fans come alive listening to the music. And I find the sexuality in Sex Dreams to be much more interesting than your run-of-the-mill, just, you know, plain kind of commercial sexuality. There's something that's really erotic and exotic about the whole thing. It's not your run-of-the-mill sex song.
Let's talk about the injury that happened not too long ago and how you had to overcome it. You were touring, you told me, you were writing, you were recording, all on the road, and you had a broken hip.
Yeah.
How long were you performing and working with that pain?
I think it was like 3 months, actually, that it was as bad as it had ultimately gotten. But I'm just in so much pain sometimes when I'm on tour that it's like, I don't know what hurts the most,
right,
you know?
Right. How difficult was that moment? And walk me through more of the details of how you felt when you realized, hey, I've got to put everything on hold and stop and disappear for a while and take care of myself.
I was on stage in Montreal, and I remember that we had just gotten, it was like the second song, it was Government Hooker. And I was walking down the side of the castle, and I remember I missed a step. And I never miss a step. I don't miss a step. And I missed a step, and you know, that gland went off in my brain, and I just went, what was that? What was that? That didn't feel right. And I kept going, and then as the show went on, I was running backstage and crying and throwing up. I was so sick. I was in a lot of pain, and I didn't, you know, my body was just losing control. And then just by the time we got to the end of the show with Shaisa, I could barely even move my leg, and I just remember that I knew that it was the last show, and I knew that I knew it wasn't good to go on anymore because I wasn't even my best.
Right. You are in a relationship, and do you find that you have more peace of mind and you're better at what you do because you've got a great support in Taylor?
Sure. I mean, yeah, of course.
And he's cool about the lifestyle that you lead and the constant on-the-go.
Well, we both work. Like, you know, he's not here tonight. He has a job. So do I. And
I'm sure he wanted to be here.
Of course he did. But, you know, it's really about, in this gypsy life that I live, when you're able to meet someone that, you know, neither of you want to change one another, and you're both on your respective journeys, but then you meet in the desert somewhere, and you fall in love. And it's okay. And what's wonderful about it is that he's a creative person as well, and so am I. So it's wonderful.
iHeartRadio album release party with Lady Gaga, who has set up a very cool artRAVE event celebrating the release of her album Art Pop, which is out now. And earlier in the evening, the first glimpse I got of you, you were on your life ship craft.
Life ship, yes.
Thing.
Volantis.
Volantis, it's called, and it's like flying wardrobe to a degree because you can move around in it. It's about the size of I don't know, it's like the size of a helicopter.
It's like, yes, it's a bit smaller and it's lighter.
It's lighter than a chopper.
It's lighter than a chopper, but yeah, we called her the Volantis, the flying dress, because we think it's kind of funny.
Right.
Because she's essentially not really a dress at all. She began as an idea that she was essentially a metaphor for me as a vehicle, an idea, taking flight. And this idea that, you know, if we all come together and we really, really support the young artists in the world, that these great ideas and these brilliant people will rise and fly to the top.
Well, you're constantly pushing into new grounds when it comes to your style, your fashion, your creativity. In the past, you've raised a lot of eyebrows and gotten headlines for some of the things that you've worn. Does it ever cross your mind, or do you think to yourself, by putting this on or going with this look, I'm going to shock people?
You know, when I'm making things, there's always an intention behind it, and the intention is always ultimately to lead to some sort of good or some sort of youth revolution. And I'm prepared to go down with the ship. I mean, that's the way that it goes. I mean, if you're going to put it on, and if you're going to go out there and sing that song and perform in that outfit, you better be prepared to take the blow of whatever goes along with it. And if the intention is pure behind what you're doing, then it shouldn't matter. Who cares what people say?
And I remember a couple of months ago now, when you came into the studio, when you released Applause, you were talking about the significance of that applause and how it pushes you through.
I felt Applause was really appropriate for this album and as a beginning to the whole art pop experience, because I think it's a reminder of my heartbeat, that I'm really not in it for the attention or the flash or the people talking a lot about me. What I'm in it for is that moment when I go onto the stage and I sing a song and I see everybody's face light up and they're entertained by that thing called showbiz. I love show business, and Applause is a song that is it's rooted in show business.
Art, culture, and pop music, they came together tonight in the form of Lady Gaga and this amazing artRAVE that she's put on, bringing people together, bridging the gaps from all walks of life and all ages. The iHeartRadio album release party is on right now, and we've got one more big performance ahead. It's Gaga's new single, Do What You Want. And before we hear it, R. Kelly is on the track, but initially wasn't. It was also not planned to be your second release,
No.
second single. So tell me why the switch?
I was listening to it and I said, oh, you know, I just want it to be good. And someone said, what do you mean it is good? And I said, I know it's good, but it could be better. And I said, well, what would make it better? And I said, it would just be so much better if R. Kelly was on it. And, you know, I don't make R&B music most of the time, and it's an R&B song. And when Paul, DJ White Shadow, sent me the groove, it really tugged on my heartstrings about how I was feeling about so many things. When I gained weight and the press was writing about it, and I felt that that was such a terrible message to young people, so it really bothered me. And you know, people write untrue things about me all the time, but I thought, how can I make sense of all of this? And you know, many people write a lot of untrue things about R. Kelly. And in this way, we really, really connect.
So when you do something like this album that is so creative, and so much of what you talk about is all of the creativity and the artistry in it, how do you think forward about what's next? Do you start thinking about that early on?
Well, now I feel like I've opened up a really wide door. Like, art pop was like the key that I was missing, because I'm a musician, I'm an artist, I am a creative person, and I love to make music while watching really creative people around me build awesome
That you've done. You've built some of that awesome stuff.
Thank
All right,
you.
let me get to these Twitter questions for Lady Gaga that you have sent in, because, you know, we talked about the fans. Fans are watching, and so here are the couple of questions. Okay, @Brittany Mac says, every girl loves to do a little fashion show before they go out. Do you do that before a date night?
Yes, of course I do, obviously. I'm just like every other girl.
Does Taylor pick? Does he have any input when it
no.
comes to picking out wardrobe?
You know, I wouldn't give him too much input, because if he actually just likes it when I'm like, I dress like a boy, like when I wear his clothes, and I'm just, you know, I mean I've been wearing my Saint Laurent flannels all the time, and it's so funny because I started doing it in the studio when we weren't hanging out together, and then I went to go see him, and he was like, "Where'd you get that shirt?" You know, he's trying to jack all my shirts, but. You know, he likes me any way that I am. So, yeah, I like to do a little fashion show.
Before you roll out.
Why not? It's fun.
Okay, @Jessica Brown asks you, what drives your fearlessness? Are you afraid of anything?
Yes, I have a lot of fears, but these I was born with. You know, as an artist, you're born with, like, a self-torment all the time, and you just experience it all day long. My fearlessness now, it really comes from a sense of responsibility to my fans. I feel like I can't be afraid, because if I were to be afraid, what would they do? They need me to be strong. They need me to be strong, and they need me to be brave, and I ask them to be brave all the time. So I gotta put my money where my mouth is.
And tonight, you take on that fearlessness right here on the cake all evening as it goes late here at the artRAVE. Lady Gaga, it's always fun to sit and chat with you and get a chance to hear what's going on with all those voices in your head.
Yeah.
Congratulations on this two-year project.
I hope not too many of them were talking while we were engaging.
Just one. We only heard one voice.
Okay, good.
But great job. Congratulations.
Are you sure?
I think so. You did.
Thanks, Ryan.
Well done.
Thank you.
If you want more Gaga, download the iHeartRadio app and create your own Gaga station. And go out and get the album. It's called Art Pop, and it's out now.